Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Billboard Comics' Reoccurring Feature Guiding Lines. This is my weekly feature where I give you a sneak preview of the new releases coming out next Wednesday. This installment covers the books coming out on September 17th, 2025. For those of you who have been here before, thank you. Hello, welcome back. Good to see you again. If you haven't subscribed already, hit the subscribe button. Like, share, comment, all that jazz, you know what to do. For you new people here, basically what this function is basically to actually go over what new books are coming out next week, what books are ending next week, any special issues you might want to keep an eye out for, and also the list of the facsimiles that are coming out next week. So it's a pretty big week, so let's just get right into it. You have any questions, leave them in the comments, and I will try to answer them the best I can. So let's begin with, as we always do, the big book of the week. This week is another week where we have an obvious choice for the big book of the week. The big book of the week is Marvel DC Deadpool Batman #1. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Marvel and DC are back in the crossover business. It's been a while. Team-ups between the two companies getting out back to the 70s, back when Superman teamed up with Spider-Man in a big oversized Treasury Edition comic book. That garnered a sequel and also a team-up book between the Hulk and Batman, and eventually a regular comic book sized book featuring the X-Men and teaming up with the Teen Titans. After that, the waters got a little choppy in the whole marriage between the two. The long anticipated JLA Avengers crossover, which is to be written by Cary Bates and drawn by George Perez, died in a conflagration of, how would you say it, creative differences, I guess. It seems like Jim Shooter was a little bit too much of a stickler for the plot, and he was making what DC considered unreasonable demands, and that crossover, much anticipated, died on a vine. It was just a long, hopeful dream for a lot of fans until 2000s, when Kurt Busiek and George Perez finally gave fans what they want with the JLA and Avengers crossover. And from what I've seen of the original, I think waiting a long time helped, because I think the one we got was much better than what we would have had gotten. That was choppy a little bit into the 90s, and the 90s was a time of like, well, whatever can we do to make money, let's do it. So there's a number of crossovers between Marvel and DC. Batman crossed over with The Punisher, Spider-Man, Daredevil. Superman crossed over with the Silver Surfer and Fantastic Four. I believe there's a book with Green Lantern crossing over with the Silver Surfer as well. This was the heyday for intercompany crossovers between DC and Marvel. It culminated with one of the biggest crossover events that I've ever seen, Amalgam Universe. The Amalgam Universe was an initiative based on the DC versus Marvel team-up book. The book was a 5-issue miniseries where fans were asked to vote who would win in battles between, say, like Lobo and Wolverine, or Namor the Submariner and Aquaman, and Superman and the Hulk. And whoever the fans got to put the most votes in for, they won the contest. But out of that spun a new initiative, a line of books called the Amalgam Universe. The Amalgam Universe basically was a combination of two heroes, one from Marvel, one from DC, into one different separate hero. Wolverine and Batman became Dark Claw. Superman and Captain America became Steve Rogers' Super Soldier. Superboy and Spider-Man became Spider-Boy, and so on and so forth. There was 2 installments of these books, about 12 to 15 books each. I'm not mistaken, I don't know for sure. But they create a whole new universe of combined characters from the two various and sundry companies. But then things got really acrimonious between Marvel and DC. The crossovers between the two companies died, and it looked like they were never happening again. I believe one of the things that was said was like, DC was like, as long as Joe Quesada was editor-in-chief, there would never be another crossover with DC Comics. And Marvel says, as long as Paul Levitz was president or editor-in-chief of DC Comics, there've never been a crossover. And, to their word, they stuck to it. Both men are no longer with there, and now they're back. This follows it up in last year's crossover between Batman and Spawn. Looks like DC is looking to expand its crossover milieu, if you will. It also has done crossovers with, say, Sonic the Hedgehog and Power Rangers in the past. But now it's going back to its biggest competitor, Marvel, to make a team-up that I don't know if anybody was asking for, but I'm sure somebody has. Batman and Deadpool are really two diverse characters. They fall in the same as being a violent vigilante, but if anybody who's seen the Batman movie, he knows it's grim and brooding, and anybody who's seen a Deadpool movie knows he's snarky and sarcastic. It's humor versus humorless, and it'd be interesting to see how to make that mix. But they're not the only stories in the issue. There's going to be a team up between Green Arrow and Daredevil, written by Kevin Smith, the man who wrote both characters for each company. But Green Lantern and Rocket Raccoon. And if you can't get enough of them, Jeff, the shark, teaming up with Crypto. Some people might buy the book just for that. That's the big thing about how excited about this. Who knows is going to add up to anything else? They do have a whole lot of crossovers jam-packed into this one issue. So I don't know where to actually go from here. I don't know if there'll be another interest in JLA Justice League or a X-Men Teen Titans book. Teen Titans aren't really as big as they were back in the 80s. But we'll see. The sky's the limit, and who knows what might happen. If somebody has a great idea that marries two of the company's characters together, we might see more of these in the future. Let's go down to the specifics of the title, and just to warn you, DC and Marvel are supporting this with a truckload of variants. Not surprising, but just so you know, if you want to kind of scrub ahead when I get to the big baby's head, when I'll cover the new issues. So if you don't want to listen to all this, go ahead. I won't blame you. Just please don't hang up or get off. You know what I mean. First off, it'll be $6.99 for 64 pages, and it's going to be a one-shot. The first story will feature Deadpool and Batman. It'll be written by Zeb Wells. I believe Zeb Wells was involved in writing the Deadpool and Wolverine movie. So you got some cachet there. Pencils will be by Greg Capullo, who drew Batman. I don't know if he drew Deadpool in the past. He probably did. Inks by Tim Townsend. Colors by Alex Sinclair. Story 2 will be the Daredevil and Green Arrow team up, written by Kevin Smith. That's why I'm getting the whole thing. No offense to Deadpool or Batman. With art by Adam Kubert. I can't wait to see that pairing. Story 3 is Captain America and Wonder Woman, written by Cap's current writer, Chip Zdarsky, with art by Terry and Rachel Dotson. Story 4 will be The Crypto and Jeff the Land Shark, written by Kelly Thompson, with art by Guri Hiru. Story 5 will be the Green Lantern and Rocket Raccoon matchup, written by Al Ewing and art by DK Ivan. And Story 6 will be written and drawn by Frank Miller, which feature Old Man Logan and Batman. Judging that it is Frank Miller and it's Batman, I imagine it would be the Batman from The Dark Knight Returns, Dark Knight Strikes Back, an older Batman for that. I also saw solicitations that there's going to be a team up between John Constantine and Doctor Strange and other characters, but this is all where I get the information from the League of Comic Book Geeks had for this issue. There might be more in here, so don't be surprised if we get extra bonus content in addition to this. We have a total of 28 incentives. 28 incentives. I'm going to start with the 16 open order books. First off, there's going to be a blank variant. One drawn by Daniel Warren Johnson. One by Ised Ribic. One by Greg Capullo. It's going to be a wraparound. One by Guri Hiru. There's going to be an Insignia mashup variant, which is basically their logos kind of cut in half and put together. One by J. Scott Campbell. One by Marco Cicchetto. a Mark Bagley foil variant, a Peach Momoko variant, a Pepe Larraz variant, a Russell Donovan homage variant, a Ryan Stegman homage variant, one by Scotty Young, one by Stanley Art Germ Lau, and one by Terry Dodson. And if they drew the story in the actual book, they'll draw the character on the cover. So Terry Dodson will be doing a Wonder Woman Captain America cover. There will be 4 incentives. 1 in 25 by Steve McNiven, 1 in 50 by Frank Miller, 1 in 100 by Stanley Art Germ Lau, Virgin, and a 1 in 200 by Greg Capullo, Sketch Virgin. There will be 8 retail exclusives. 3 will be provided by 616 Comics / Comic Traders / Comics Elite. All 3 will be drawn by Patrick Gleason. You'll have a color hold Virgin, that's a cover that has only spot color on it, a regular variant, and a Virgin variant. Bedrock City Comics has a variant drawn by Lineal Francis Yu. Big Time Collectibles / Comic Kingdom has 2 variants, a Creative Alessandro Appuccino variant and a version of that same variant. Mattel Comics has a variant drawn by Ed McGuinness, and Scotty Young's web store does a variant, a different one from the one he does for the main variant. Now, let's move on to the voluminous amount, and I do mean voluminous amount, of new issues coming out this week. We are going to start off with DC, and we have a sequel to the Batman The First Night series that came out a couple months ago. It is, naturally, The Batman The Second Night. $6.99 for 48 pages. It's going to be a magazine-sized, and it'll be a 6-issue limited series. Just like the first series was, it will be written by Dan Jurgens, art by Mike Perkins, colors by Mike Spicer, and the color will be by Mike Perkins. If you didn't get, I got the first one, at least 2 of them. My local comic book store missed the third one for me. I just realized that now. I didn't realize it at the time. It is basically a noir take on Batman. It takes place in the year he was actually debuted, 1938, and takes place as if Batman was actually up and operational at that time period in American history. I could never say that I was a runaway favorite of Dan Jurgens' writing. I love his artwork. He's a really great artist. But in this series, he seems like really has come into his own. I don't know, like, if he got struck by lightning or by a magical bug that gave him, like, have him amp up his writing powers. He wasn't a bad writer. He's done a lot of writing in the past, and a lot of stories I've enjoyed, but this kind of like took it into another level. Like he went from being like a regular DC writer to a Vertigo writer with this. It was very well constructed, very well done. And if you missed the first one, it's got to be on trade by now. You can pick up the trade and the first issue of this, and you'll probably enjoy both of it. This is supported by 2 open order variants. A cover B by Mark Aspinall, and a cover C by Fabrizio De Tomaso. There'll be 1 incentive, cover D, on 1 in 25 by Jorge Fornes. DC is also coming out with another one of its work in progress oversized issues. DC Work in Progress Absolute Batman number 1. It'll be $14.99 for 49 pages. It'll be oversized, and it'll be a one-shot. This is a reprint of the first issue of the Absolute Batman series that currently just reached its first year anniversary. It is basically kind of like an artist edition. It's a black and white oversized version where you can see all the artwork big and as they're intended before the coloring hit. If you like that kind of thing, this is for you. Like the original one, it's still going to be written by Scott Snyder, still with art by Nick Dragotta, and lettering by Clayton Cowles. There's no coloring in it, so there's no colorist. The cover will be by Nick Dragotta. Next up, let's move over to IDW and look at their licensed number 1 /1 one this week. First up is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Casey Jones number 1. $4.99 for 36 pages. It's going to be a 6-issue series. Writing will be Alex Paknadel. Art by Amansi Nahulian. Colors by Luis Delgado. The cover will be by Amansi Nahulian. There will be 2 open letter covers, a cover B by Danny Earls, and cover C that is blank. And 2 incentives, a 125 by Danny Earls, black and white variant, and a 150 by Mike Henderson. This is Casey Jones. This is a ally of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. His big thing is he's a vigilante who just basically uses sports equipment you could buy at the local Dick's Sporting Goods or whatever you have near you, and uses them to fight crime. I always thought of him as being like a really interesting character. I always thought he's one of my favorite characters from the universe. Not that I'm a big fan of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but I am a fan of the whole concept behind Casey Jones, and now he's getting his own series. Probably not the first one, but it should be interesting to read if you're a fan of the character or the concept. The other licensed one that IDW is coming out with is Street Sharks #1. $4.99 for 36 pages, a 5-issue limited series, written by Stephanie Williams, art by Ariel Medel, colors by Valentina Pinto and Jonathan Dobbs, letters by Jeff Eckelberry, and a cover by Philip Murphy. This is a toy tie-in. This is not the first one we're going to get this week, and probably won't be the last we'll get this entire year, but comic books are nothing but nostalgia miners. If there's anything that might have a modicum of popularity that they might possibly be able to conceivably make a comic book out of, they will. Street Sharks was a toy line, I believe, from Mattel back in the 80s. It's a little bit after my toy time, so I'm not really all that familiar with it, but I believe there were sharks that drove hot rods. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. Part of me doesn't want you to, because the idea of fully grown, oversized sharks driving hot rods down a street in the open air just seems too good to be true, and I don't really want it not to be true. There will be 3 open order covers to support this. Cover B by Jorge Corona, cover C by Elizabeth Beals, and a cover D will be a blank one. There'll be 3 incentive covers, a 1/10 of the Elizabeth Beals cover, a 1/25 by Kevin Anthony Catalan, and a 1/50 Carrie Randolph Virgin cover. There'll be 1 retailer incentive. Street Thieves Dead Ass Digital Campon Johnson variant. Hey, algorithm. Yeah, I did curse, but it's in the company name. Mea culpa. Next up, we are going over to Image. They have a new series in the Creepshow license that they are putting out today. This is about the 4th or 5th different series they have. They have usually 4 or 5 issue miniseries. About this one's going to be a 5-issue miniseries. $3.99 for 32 pages. If you're familiar with the Creepshow name, you probably are familiar with the Creepshow movie from the 1980s. There's a compilation that was kind of heavily inspired by the EC books of the 1950s. It was an episodic anthology film of various and sundry horror concepts, written by Stephen King and directed by George Romero. That's a pairing that is a marriage that is in horror heaven, right there. If you don't know who George Romero is, he's the guy who created Night of the Living Dead, and he should be enshrined in any kind of Mount Rushmore you have of horror. Right next to him should be Stephen King, the man who wrote Carrie, The Shining, The Stand, and a whole bunch of other ones, and still writing today. He's incredibly prolific. I think it's like, and I might be like going a little bit under. I think it's like 15 million books out in print. I could be wrong. I mean, separate titles. You know, each one has probably like 20,000 copies each. But I kid. But he is a master of horror, and they made a movie together called Creepshow. And now here we are, 40 years later, and we are having another installment of the comic book. And strangely enough, it is also sharing the newsstands or comic book store shelves, with the EC revival from Oni. So it's kind of like you get your choice of anthology horror. As an anthology, this has multiple stories in it. The first story will be by Jeremy Adams with art by Eduardo Rizzo. Story 2 will be by Rosie Knight with art by Oliver Ono. The cover will be by Lorenzo Di Felici. There'll be one open order cover, cover B, by Oliver Ono. There'll be one incentive, a cover C, 1 in 10 by Jorge Fornes, and a one retailer incentive, Tennessee comic collector Scoot Starnes variant. They also have another book coming out, No Man's Land, number 1, $3.99 for 32 pages, a 4-issue limited series. This will be written and drawn by Szymon Kudranski. He's also going to be doing the cover for it. I believe this is a telling of a murder mystery that takes place at the ice bridge between Russia and Alaska that only appears certain months during the year. It seems very interesting. It will have 6 other covers. Cover B will be drawn by Brian Michael Bendis. Yes, drawn by Brian Michael Bendis. It's not going to be a text piece on there. Now, many people might have forgotten that he started off as being a writer-artist back when he first started. So he has abundant art skills. As a matter of fact, there's a story about when he got called for Marvel, thought he was going to get a call because of his artwork and not his writing. And the surprise was like, no, we don't want your artwork, we want your writing. So he's been pretty much exclusively a writer for the last maybe 20 years or so. It's good to see him go back to his artwork. So yeah, this is one drawn by Brian Michael Bendis. Cover C is a Szymon Kudranski 7 homage. This is an homage to the movie 7, with the movie starring Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman. Cover D will be a Szymon Kudranski Hunt for Red October variant. This is a homage to, not variant, it's an homage variant. It's an homage to the Sean Connery and Alec Baldwin movie from the 80s. Cover E will also be by Szymon Kudranski. It's going to be a noir variant. Cover F will be a movie homage Whiteout variant. This is going to be a tribute to the movie Whiteout. I didn't really realize that Whiteout was a movie of the gravitas that deserved a tribute. No offense, it was adapted from a comic book, but I didn't think it was that big of a hit. But if you are a big fan of Whiteout and seeing Kate Beckinsale and her skivvies in a Polar Research Institute, and you've watched this again and again, here's a cover for you. And cover G will be blank, so you can get whatever movie you want homaged on there that you want. I recommend Encanto. And the final new book from Image is Good as Dead number 1, $7.99 for 48 pages. It looks like it's going to be an ongoing series. Written by Maria Lapham in conjunction with David Lapham, and David is going to be doing the art and the lettering for this series as well. Colors will be by D. Cuniff, and the cover will be by David Lapham and D. Cuniff. Moving on to Marvel. Marvel has 2 new series out. First up is Marvel Zombies Red Band number 1. If there's ever a Marvel comic concept custom made for the Red Band concept, which, as you may know, is Marvel's uncensored showcase for all gory and bloody stuff, it would be Marvel Zombies. You're probably going to see a lot of your favorite heroes gushing blood all over the page. And if I might sound a little bit more excited than I really am about that, but it is a good marriage of format and concept. The series will be written by Ethan Parker and Griffin Sheridan. Artwork by John Balzuda. Colors by Eric Arciniega. Letters by Travis Lanham. And the cover will be by Greg Land on art and Rachel Rosenberg on colors. I believe this might be $4.99 for 32 pages, and I believe it's going to be a 5-issue limited series. I forgot to write that down. If it isn't, well, sue Marvel. There'll be 4 open order covers to tie into this. One by Clayton Crane. One by Ivan Shavrin. One will be a Marvel animation variant. And one will be a Scott Koblish retro zombie variant. There will also be 2 incentives. a 125 by Ryan Brown, and a 1/100 of the Clayton Crane variant, but in a Virgin. They're also going to have another book in the Star Wars franchise that is in a similar yet somewhat different kind of property or format. It's Star Wars Boba Fett, black, white, and red, number 1. This is basically, it's a little different from the red band. It's not, the red is not for the gore, but the red will be the only color that's involved in the creation of the comic book. Backgrounds will be the shades of red. Any costume element that has red will be forward and foremost, but the rest, otherwise the book will be in black and white. It'll be $5.99 for 40 pages. It's a 4-issue series. It'll be written by Benjamin I Killed the Beast Percy. Pencils by Chris Allen. Inks will be by Chris Allen and Craig Young. Colors by Rochelle Rosenberg. Letters by Joe Caramagna. And the cover will be by Alex Maleev. There'll be 2 open order variants for this. A Jose Maria Casanovas variant and a Curry Andrews variant. There'll also be 2 incentives. A 1/25 Lino Francis Yu and a 1/100 of the Carrie Andrews cover, only in a Virgin. Next, Boom is here with another tie-in series. The Expanse, A Little Death, number 1. $5.99 for 40 pages, ongoing. Written by Andy Deagle and Wes Chatham. Art by Francesco Pisa. Colors by Valentina Pinto. Cover by Christian Ward. There'll be 2 open order variants for this. Cover B by Justine Florentino. Cover E, a Virgin variant of the Florentino cover. There'll also be 2 incentive covers to go along with this. Cover C, a 1/10 by Christian Ward. It'll be a Virgin variant of his regular cover. And a cover D, a 1/20 by Bjorn Behrens, a Virgin cover. Next up, we come to Abrams. Abrams is going to be publishing Frank Miller's Pandora number 1. This is a follow-up to his series from a couple, maybe a year or 2 back. Yeah, I believe it's a slightly kid-friendly book. I'm not exactly sure. It's going to be $4.99. How many pages? I don't know. How long it's going to run? I don't know. No information online as far as I could see. It'd be written by Anthony Marinville and Chris Silvestri. Art and cover would be by Emma Kubert. I believe it's Kubert. Joe Kubert. Yeah, this is Joe Kubert's granddaughter. I believe it's the daughter of either Adam or Andy Kubert. She's a really great artist in her own right. I just love the fact that whole family line has so much talent in it, and it keeps on growing and growing and growing. All right, moving on to Dark Horse, another licensed book. Magic, The Gathering, Untold Stories, Elspeth, number 1. $4.99 for 32 pages. It'll be a 4-issue series. It'll be written by Dan Waters. Art will be by Owen Cieni. Colors will be by Hilary Jenkins. Letters by Clayton Coles. And the cover will be by Cieni. 2 other covers. A cover B by Vincenzo Riccardi. Cover C by Anna Steinbauer. And I think you should take this time because sometimes I write stuff down wrong or whatever. It might be Gieni or Cieni. I don't know exactly which one. I wrote them down both. If I make a mistake with your name, and please do not get offended by this because I'm basically an idiot with really bad penmanship. So I try to write everything down in a little book beforehand so I have it all in front of me so I don't have to go looking through the internet to do this or anything like that. Please let me know the correct pronunciation of your name and I will try to make note of it for future installments. I apologize greatly. I have a incredibly hard to pronounce last name, so I understand what's going on with that and the feelings involved in somebody mangles your name. I apologize. Please forgive me and let me know if I did mess up your name. All right, moving on to Ignition Press. The book they have coming out is Voyeur number 1. Be $4.99 for 24 pages. 5-issue series. Written by Leah Williams. Art by David Baldion. Colors by Eva De La Cruz. Letters by And World Design. And the cover by Paulina Ganuccio. There'll be 1 open order cover. Cover B by Emanuele Lubacino. 1 incentive, a cover C, a 1 in 5 by Yannick Paquet. And 1 retailer, a Herb Excellence Review Ask Can. Alrighty then. Next up, we have Mad Cave. Flow number 1. Have you been talking to yourself and thinking to yourself, man, I wish there's been a long time since we had a comic book based on women's menstruation cycles. I wish there's another one coming around. Well, guess what? You're in luck. Flow number 1. $4.99 for 32 pages. It's going to be a 5-issue series. Written by Paula Seven Bergen. Art by Claudia Balboni. Colors by Fabi Marquez. Letters by Jody Troutman. Cover by Aniki Marielianum. Again, back to what I said 5 seconds ago, I apologize. There'll be one other cover B by Colleen Doran. This is kind of like a take on Carrie. This woman is away at camp when she gets her first menstruation cycle. I don't know if this is taken out by YouTube or whatever. I'm trying to be delicate about it. And she's made fun of, much like it is in Carrie. And now, several decades later, the other people are being cursed for some reason, and they think it's tied into her and the fun they made fun of her, and trying to get the revenge. So, if you want a different version of Carrie in a comic book form, this might be for you. Next up, another toy tie-in, this time from Only Press. Holler if you know this one. They keep getting more and more obscure. It's Wild West COW Boys of Moo Mesa. So Wild West Cowboys of Moo Mesa. This is a toy line that kind of like asked the question, the forbidden question that people were afraid to ask. What would happen if your cowboys were cows? You'll find out now because this comic book is coming out. $4.99 for 32 pages, and it's going to be an ongoing series. Written by Matt Hodson, art by Juan Gideon, and the cover will be by Gideon as well. There'll be 5 open order variants to support this. Cover B, Andrew Carnegie. Cover C, Joe Palmer. Cover D, Gavin Smith, handbook variant. It looks like a kind of a dossier kind of handbook kind of thing. Cover E will be blank, and cover F will be Joe Palmer. There'll be 3 incentives. Cover G, a 1 in 10, Juan Gideon Connecting Virgin variant. Cover H, a 1 in 20 by Patrick Spazianti. Cover I will be a 1 in 50 by Andrew Cronky Black and White Virgin. SHP has an issue coming out called Zicky number 1. It looks like a kind of a fantasy where a kid goes to a special land that not many people know about, and it's a fantasy land all to himself. And he somehow comes out and somebody comes into the real world with him. This is I had this concept for a book like way back in the day. I have a first draft of a book written about it. I could just throw that away now because it's already been done. Story of my life. $4.99 for 32 pages. It's going to be a 5-issue series. I don't know if I said that, but I'll say it again because it bears repeating. Written by Darren S. Cape. Art by Zeno de Cruz and Hiroshi Gaboto. Cover by Odense Oguo. Oguguo. There'll be one other cover, cover B by Tony Fleeks. Next up, we have Titan with a license of the Blade Runner series. Blade Runner Black Lotus Las Vegas number 1. $4.99, 32 pages, 4-issue series. Written by Nancy A. Collins, art by Jesus Hervas, and the cover will be by Cale New. This is going to be taking place, give you a look at like what Las Vegas would operate and look like in the Blade Runner universe. Pretty interesting, considering especially the plotline of that and like the replicants and stuff, how they would be used in the Sin City. It should be interesting, and Nancy Collins is a really good writer, so it might be worth your time to pick this one up. There'll be 7 other covers. Cover B by Danny Earls. Cover C by Jesus Hervas. Cover D by Andy Belanger. Cover E by Kit Wallace. Cover F will be a sketch variant. Cover G will be Kale New foil, and a Kale New Virgin will be cover H. Wrapping up the new issues for this week will be one from Xenoscope. Mist, The Forgotten Hour, number 1. $5.99 for 32 pages. It'll be a one-shot. Be written by Joe Bruscia. Art by Alan Otero and Julius Abrera. Colors by Juan Manuel Rodriguez. Letters by Taylor Esposito. And the cover will be by Igor Vitorino. There'll be 6 open order covers for this issue. Not surprising. Cover B by Edgar Salazar. Cover C by Josh Burns. Cover D will be by Dennis Santa Cruz. Cover P will be by Paul Green, 2025 September Fairy Tale Collectible cover. There will also be a cover Q, which will be an X-rated version of that cover. And there will be a cover R, which is a subscription variant of that cover. There will be one incentive. It's going to be a cover E, a 1 in 20 of the Josh Burns cover, but a version with different coloring. Now, onto our sub-feature of this feature. The sub-feature of the sub-feature of this feature, I guess that would be the line of demarcation, the depth chart of that, is let's try this again. Again! Let's Try This Again is basically a little sub-feature I have on each of these little segments where I cover books I have already covered in the past, that I've already done a whole rundown of artists and variant covers and stuff like this that were supposed to come out weeks ago but have not come out and are now rescheduled for this week. Instead of doing the whole process over again, because sometimes, as we know about in the early days of this video series, sometimes you appear on your list again and again and again and again. Stop having to do the same thing over and over again. I decided to do this and just tell you, hey, this is the title. It's supposed to come out this date. Go look there if you want to find out more about it. And we have 2, of course. One is Valiant Beyond, the XO Man of War number 1. This is Alien Books. This is not the first, and probably won't be the last, of the variant reboot that Alien Books is doing. It was originally supposed to come out, and I covered it in the April 2nd, 2025 video. That's the video for the books coming out on April 2nd, 2025. So if you want to go back through my archives and go to that, and if you really want to find out about this book, about the artists and covers and whatnot, it's all in there. But like I said, it's 5 months after and it's being resolicited again. I'm not giving it a full run thing. Next up is from DC, DCKO Ashcan, Local Comic Shop Day 2025 Special Edition. This I covered back in a couple weeks ago, September 3rd, 2025. This is it's an Ashcan that's going to be released for Local Comic Book Store Day. I don't know if it's actually released back then or supposed to come out on the 3rd. Local Comic Book Shop Day is not until the 27th of this month. So you've got 10 days before it to come out. We'll see if it comes out or not before then. But this might be just like getting the stock into the hands of the store owners beforehand so they could have it set up and displayed enough time for Local Comic Shop Day. But this might appear on this again. I wouldn't be too concerned about this being late or delayed or anything like that. It's just probably a case of like maybe you have time before it actually is supposed to be in stores. That's what I'm trying to say. Next up, final issues. This week, we are going to start off with Marvel, and Marvel has a theme with their final issues. The theme is, we're getting ready for the Age of Elevation. This is the whole kind of like line-wide, well, the X-Men line of books crossover, where they're doing a flash forward 10 years in the future to see where the series and the concepts would possibly conceivably end up. Do I believe it's going to be canon? I don't know. But it might be. It calls to mind of the Age of Apocalypse. I'll cover more about it probably next month when the first issues start hitting. All together, just kind of like, that'd be the big book of the week for that week. But now is the bringing to an end of all the previous series, and there's 3 cancellations from Marvel that might tie into this. The only thing I'm saying about this is like the whole thing for you to consider is, will this be the cancellation of the books, or are they just going on hiatus? So the books we have, would they come back with? This one of Marvel's 10 count program, which might be gone forever, because usually books don't last past 10. However, it's up in the air. So these might not be true cancellations in the biblical sense of the word, but just keep in mind out, they're stopping this week. And if you didn't like the series, it's a good jumping off point if you want to, or let you know, hey, you're not going to get this anymore. Starting next week, you'll be getting the new tie-ins or whatever. First off, Uncanny X-Men number 21, $4.99 for 32 pages. Written by Gail Simone, art by Luciano Vecchio, colors by Matt Wilson, and letters by Clayton Coles. Cover will be by David Marquez on art and Matt Wilson on colors. There'll be 4 open order variants with this: Alex Ross Timeless Banshee version, a Foreshadow logo. They've been doing this on all these final issues from the original series. It's basically like the logo they have now ripped open, and the logo of the book that's replacing it, but bursting through the page. Geraldo Sandoval does another variant, and Justin Mason Nightcrawler variant is the last of the open orders. The Justin Mason cover will also be our first incentive, a 1 in 50, the virgin version of that cover, and a 1 in 50 by 1 in 100 of the Alex Ross Timeless Banshee sketch version. This goes along with what it has. Every time he has a Timeless variant, he has a sketch variant at a 1 in 100 ratio afterwards. Next up, the 10 count possible inductee, Magic number 10, $3.99 for 32 pages, written by Ashley Allen, art by German Peralta, and covered by Pablo Villalobos. There'll be 3 other covers: a Foreshadow logo variant, naturally, a Higem Hibachi variant, and a Simone DeMeo variant. And the third X-Men family book that's coming to an end is Phoenix 15, $3.99 for 32 pages, written by Stephanie Phillips, art by Roy Mercado, colors by Javier Tartaglia, and letters by Corey Pettit. The cover will be by Lucas Wernick. There'll be 2 other covers for this series: a Foreshadow logo again, and one by Marco Cicchetto. This I think will be the last issue of Stephanie Phillips writing on the issue. I remember her saying that she's leaving the series. As of this issue, I think it's being replaced by a series based on Binary. So I don't know who, like, if that's going to be the Carol Danvers Binary or Jean Grey is going to become Binary or whatever. But she's, I think, writing that book, and then after that she's done with anything Jean Grey related. So if you liked her work, sorry to break that to you. If you didn't, celebrate on your own time. Next up, we have a number of Image books coming to an end. First off, The Seasons, number 8, $3.99 for 32 pages, written by Rick Remender, art by Paul Azaceta, colors by Matt Lopez, and the cover by Azaceta. There'll be one other cover, a cover B, a 1 in 15 by EPHK. This Ends Tonight ends this Wednesday with number 3, $3.99 for 24 pages. The stories by Jerry Duggan and Kelvin Mao, written by Robert Wyndham, art by Jay Lee, colors by June Chung, letters by Joe Sabino, and a cover by Jay Lee on art and June Chung on colors. There'll be also one other cover for this series, a cover B, a 1 in 15, Jay Lee piggyback variant. It is the 2 female characters on the cover, and one is carrying the other one piggyback style. I'm sure that's going to float somebody's boat out there. Finally, there's only 3 from this, I did a quick check on the website, and when they're supposed to be canceled, ending coming out, things no longer on the list. Should probably do that before I do this anymore. But the final issue that is supposed to be ending this week is Dark Honor number 5, $3.99 for 32 pages, written by Evan Sachs and Brian Michael and K.S. Bruce. The art will be by Jamal Ingle, cover by Fico Ossio. One other cover, cover B, a 1 in 10 by Fico Ossio, black and white variant. Next up, we have the books coming to a close from Mad Cave. First up, The Slasher's Apprentice, number 5, $4.99 for 32 pages. Writing by Justin Richards, art by Val Halvorsen, colors by Rebecca Nally, letters by Buddy Bedouin, and a cover by Val Halvorsen. This is one I added to my pull list. I've been reading it. I'm surprised by how gory it is. It is kind of like be called in front of Congress in the 50s gory. And it's probably would the people at EC would probably, really? You did that? Yeah, it is very gory. It's kind of a story about this murder podcast who becomes an apprentice to a serial killer. Don't know my feelings on it or not. It's well done, but I don't think it really speaks to me. But you might like it better than I do, depending how dark your tastes are and how much you enjoy the gore. Mad Cave is also bringing to an end Buried Long, Long Ago, number 5, $4.99 for 32 pages. Be written by Anthony Cleveland, art by Alex Cormack, letters by Justin Birch, and the cover will be by Cormack. Next up is Keen Spot. This is the last of the last final issues, but we do have a Let's Try This Again coming up, so stay tuned for that. Keen Spot is bringing to in 2 books, Hot Valley Days and Cocaine Nights, number 3, $6.99. Written by Matthew Spradlin and Sean E. DeMott. Art by Farid Karami, and Karami is also doing the cover. There'll be one other cover, cover B of the Karami cover in black and white. This appears to be a 1980s set look at the seedier part of the entertainment industry in Los Angeles. It seems really interesting. I wish I picked this up and had a look at it. But maybe I'll try to look out for a trade if they do come out with trades, and because it's ending now. And next one is the kid-friendly The Glopple, number 3, $5.99, written by Matt Cole, art and cover by Jose Chirinos. There'll be one on the cover, a cover B by Matt Chambers. And now, our final issue installment of Let's Try This Again. Again! The Let's Try This Again is from Utopia number 6. It is Dynamite, and I covered it back in July 30th, 2025. This is the second week in a row that it has been listed as coming out, so who knows. Diamond is a mess. And Diamond's mess kind of became Dynamite's mess. And I keep on getting too confused because they both start with Die. I apologize for that. But Dynamite had a whole bunch of problems with like the new Diamond owners holding their stock and, being released. I don't know if this is being released by Diamond themselves through a new distributor or it's the new Diamond releasing it. Sounds like it might be new Diamond because it's being delayed again and again and again. But whatever, if you are collecting this series, it might be in your pull list this week. It might not. Next up, I have one issue of note, an issue I'd like you to take a note of.
This looks interesting.
Issue note comes from DC Comics. It's Wonder Woman number 25. This is going to be an anniversary issue. It's going to be $4.99 for 40 pages. The series is ongoing. It's written by Tom King. Art by Daniel Samper and Jorge Fornes. Colors by Tomeo More. Covered by Daniel Samper and art and colors by Tomeo More. It is going to be the start of a new storyline, a new direction for the series. So it's an ideal jumping on point for people who might be interested in Wonder Woman. I read a little bit of this. I'm a little bit behind on it, but I enjoyed it quite a bit. I have a love-hate with Tom King's writing. I think the way he formats the story is excellent and brilliant, and like the way he like has flashbacks and cuts it up and stuff like this. His plotting is hit or miss. When it works, it sings, it's beautiful, it's awesome. When it doesn't, it falls like a lead balloon. I really like the whole Human Target series he had. Not so much the Strange Adventures, but I like his writing here. So you might have already made up your mind about Mr. King's writing, so what I tell you might not have anything to do with you picking up this book. But if you haven't, give it a shot if you want to. And now we're going to move on to the facsimiles. Starting off with DC Comics, Batman #1 is getting another facsimile. It seems like this is like the second or third facsimile it's already got. But it is a popular book. It is the first appearance of Joker and Catwoman, and first Batman in his own series. So it is historically important, and usually those get a lot of attention in the marketplace. This will have 3 volumes, 3 issuings, if you will. The regular facsimile, a foil version of that facsimile, and there'll be a blank variant cover in case you want to cosplay as Bob Kane and have somebody else draw the cover for you, and you can sign your name to it. If you know, you know, and if you know, you're probably, Bob Kane was an idiot. Hot take. Next up, Marvel has another variant, a facsimile, in the Civil War line. It looks like Civil War is going to be this now focus of the facsimiles for at least the next 6 months. Well, actually 5 months from there, because I already did #1, and this week is #2. It is maybe the week, maybe the next 6 weeks. For the foreseeable future, Marvel will be doing facsimiles based on Civil War. There, done. There will be 3 facsimiles to choose from: the regular cover, a foil variant of the Michael Turner alternate cover of the original issue of #2, and a 125 Carmen Cornero incentive variant. So that's all for this week. Anything pique your interest? Are you getting the Deadpool and Batman? Are you getting it for the main story or any of the backup stories? If so, what story are you getting it for? Which story are you most hyped for? Which story are you not as hyped for? Anything else on the list piques your interest? Anything else that might be ending that you might recommend to somebody as being good if it comes out on trade? Let me know in the comments. And if you made it this far, please like the video, subscribe, share if you can, and comment if you will. Everything helps in the algorithm, and slowly but surely, I'm building this. Building up this site, and it's a long process. I'm in for the long haul, and I've had a lot of success, more success than a lot of people have had. That's all due to you, but any help you could give me would be greatly appreciated. So that's it for this week. Until next week, keep on collecting.